Hi, this is Shane Nicholson. You're watching Live on the Lot on Skippy TV, and this is my new single, Even If You Were the One. Let's go out, get lost in the crowd, so we don't have to talk out loud. Let's go hide from the people we know, so we don't have to let it show. When hearts turn to rust, bones turn to dust, buried under the two of us. Lock up the doors and burn down the house again. 'Cause it could never be love, even if you were the one. I wouldn't let it be love, even if you were the one. Wherever there's love, there's always blood. Wherever there's rain, there will be mud. Wherever you get it, won't be enough. Wherever there's love, there's always blood. And hearts turn to rust, bones turn to dust, buried under the two of us. We don't need a plan, so turn around and drive. 'Cause it could never be love, even if you were the one. I wouldn't let it be love, even if you were the one. Not even if you were the one. I should fight the wrong I should right. I hope I don't get that lonely tonight. 'Cause it could never be love, even if you were the one. I wouldn't let it be love, even if you were the one. It could never be love, not even if you were the one. I wouldn't let it be love, even if you were the one. Not even if you were the one. Yeah. Not even if you were the one. Oh, even if you were the one. Oh.
Hi, I'm Melanie Dyer. You're watching Live on the Lot on Skippy TV, and I'm here today with three-time ARIA award-winning singer-songwriter Shane Nicholson. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
It's good for you to be here so I can pick your brains. I'm going to take full advantage of that. Starting with actually your guitar that you were just playing. I wanted to know, what does the tape mean? It says
Grooch.
Grooch.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That guitar was hand-built for me by a really good friend of mine who passed away, Brian de Grooch. He lived in South Australia. He actually made, I reckon, about 7 or 8 of my guitars over the years.
Okay.
And he's made guitars for half of the country music industry in Australia.
Right.
But he made them all one at a time by hand in his garage. And that one's been around the world with me quite a few times. And so when he passed away, I kind of, I christened that one after him, like named it after him, so he still comes on tour.
That's awesome, to have his presence there up on the stage with you.
Yeah.
And did you write a lot of the songs using Grooch?
I have. I've written a lot of albums on that, that guitar, Like, I think ever since, I think I got it just before the Rattle and Bones record, so I've had it for about 2007, so 10 years of albums worth written on that guitar.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's really special.
Yeah.
And so I read that the last couple of albums that you've done, you wrote in isolation. So you, I imagine, just probably took a guitar away somewhere and sort of locked yourself up.
Yeah.
You went to the Hawkesbury, is that right? To write Love and Blood?
The Love and Blood record I wrote on the Hawkesbury in kind of in like fits and stages, maybe about, pardon me, about 3 or 4 trips away. And I would go for 3 or 4 days at a time. And I found this really great house on the river that was only accessible by boat. So it meant that no one really bothered me there. And
so you drive the boat, obviously. It was just you. Little tinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Head up the river with
That's cool.
a guitar and some whiskey and be gone for 4 days. And there was no phone service or anything, so it was a good place to write. And I went back there periodically to write the rest of the record. And it's just, I found that it's the only way I can work now is by isolating myself. I find that writing a record is a pretty self-absorbed, almost selfish, self-indulgent time. Everything about the self.
Yeah, it's all about yourself.
And especially as a parent and, you know, running a studio and having all this other stuff on, it's just that I need to kind of find a way to suspend reality for a while so that I can just completely focus on that. And that's how I found out that I can achieve it, by just completely going somewhere where the rest of the world can't reach me.
Can't distract you.
Exactly, yeah.
And so what does the process of writing a song look like for you? If I were a fly on the wall or on the side of the tinny boat, what does it actually look like when you're in your element in the process of writing a song?
For me, it's different every time. I don't really have a process or like a technique. I think they all come from different places. Sometimes it's musical, sometimes it's lyrical, sometimes it's a combination of the two things. Like I never, that age-old question that what comes first, music or lyrics, I don't have an answer for that. They kind of all come in different stages and all at once and not ever together. And like it's all, it's hard to imagine, like hard to put a, it's hard to quantify it, and I'm always reluctant to anyway, because I think the more I understand it, the less I'll be able to do it. So I try not to analyse it too much, but as long as they keep coming, I'm fine with it. But sometimes that's, you know, what it's like as a writer. Sometimes they come easier, sometimes they come harder, and it goes in, you know, ebbs and flows. And learning to ride out the ebbs is the important part.
Yeah, that's right.
And then extend and make the most of the flows. You know, the peaks and not getting too down about, you know, those long periods where you're not writing anything.
The writer's block.
Yeah,
Period,
I don't really call it writer's block. It's just like
The lull.
it's like it's time to gather inspiration between writing, you know, and sometimes there's just nothing to write about, you know, and
that's right. Yeah. Is there anything specific that you would do to get that flow happening, or is it just changes in your life that sort of inspire, I guess, the music to come?
Well, listening to music is one of the biggest things I've always done to inspire me to make more music.
Yeah. Who do you like to listen to?
Just
Paul Kelly?
Well, yeah, definitely Paul Kelly. You know, anything really. It doesn't even matter if it's. I can listen to, you know, top 40 pop music as much as I don't really like it, but I can find something in that to inspire me. You know.
That's cool. I like that.
There's always something in music. I mean, it's like Stephen King once wrote about being an author. If you haven't got time to read books, you haven't got time to be a writer. And it seems the same way with music to me. So whenever I don't have time to listen to music, which strangely happens a lot because I'm producing records a lot, and after 14 hours a day in a studio, you don't really go home and put on a record.
You kind of just want to switch off completely.
You don't want to hear music.
Yeah.
So there's times that I find that I go for months and haven't listened to music for enjoyment for a long time, and then I need to get back into it. And so once I find time to listen to music, then it starts to become easier to make it again.
Yeah, I guess you don't want to make listening to music feel like homework, I guess, when you've been in like a studio all day and then you're like, oh, I have to listen to more music to get inspired.
That's
Sometimes
true.
even just, you know, life can inspire you outside of music as well.
Exactly. Being somewhere different inspires me a lot. The Hell Breaks Loose record came entirely from me travelling out to Hermannsburg in the Red Centre and being, again, isolated.
You would have been so isolated.
But also in a really beautiful place that was quite foreign to me. And, and it was so removed from my daily life that all of a sudden this flow of creativity started coming in. You know, more than half of the Hell Breaks Loose record was kind of came to be out there in that 10 days that I was there, you know. And before that I hadn't written a song for nearly a year. So sometimes it's just being somewhere different or being around other people or, you know, I find that sometimes in the past I've just gotten on a plane and flown to another city, and it might be a city I've been to a million times, like Adelaide or something, or you know, Perth, and I'll just get on a plane and go there and then rent a hotel room and just start writing songs in a hotel. It's just like being on tour, which
so
is
for the purpose of a writing trip, yeah.
But I used to write on tour for the, you know, that first decade of touring before I had children and when they were coming on the road and touring changed. Back then I used to write all the time in hotel rooms and that. So now I kind of recreate it by going and getting a hotel room somewhere and just walking down the street and people watching and sitting in cafes and writing songs. Just finding any way to kind of, you know, get that flow happening again, you know, and sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's slow, but I think as time goes on, I'm certainly getting more okay with when it happens and when it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of roll with it, you know.
And do you think changing your style of, you know, from writing while you're on the road to now isolating yourself is because you're writing about a different sort of experience now where you're at in your life? Is there something, like, I've heard that you don't really write love songs. That's what you say about yourself. But there's a couple of songs on the record, like Safe, that to me are love songs. I mean, you can interpret them any way, but...
No, well, they are. They definitely are. And I mean, I never have written love songs in the past, or I've never written blatant love songs. I've written some that are kind of sort of love songs, but they're always dressed up in a way that makes them sound not like a love song. 'Cause I just find it really... I've always struggled with writing a love song that doesn't make me want to vomit.
Cheese factor up here.
So I think the first love song I ever wrote was The Broken Things. So, like, obviously it is a love song, but it's dressed up in this idea of very dark. Yeah. So yeah, Safe is a love song, but it was written as a gift for my girlfriend, so as a Christmas present. So
she would have been super happy with that.
Yeah, she was. Well, and I only did it because she told me that she'd never had a song written about her.
You will do it.
I thought, well, every girl should have a song written about them, so... That was her Christmas present, yeah.
Well, not every girl gets a song written, you know, for them, so that's very special. And you also wrote I Don't Dance, is that...
Well, that came from her also.
Yeah, so tell me, how did that come about?
She's the first partner I've ever had that wasn't really in music or, you know, music industry, and so she didn't realise that asking me to dance at a nightclub was the wrong thing to do, because I just don't...
I don't see you in a nightclub, really. You're not a nightclub kind of guy.
And she asked me to dance, and so I wrote that song in response to that, yeah. I know, I just don't dance.
And it gets you on your feet, though, that song.
Well, that was kind of the irony of it. I was trying to go for, And, but it's just something I don't bother doing. Seriously, I would never take... It looks so much fun. I would never want to take that opportunity away from somebody else, and she loves dancing, and I love watching her dance. She looks like she's having a great time. But if I had that much spare energy, I could find a better use for it, I think.
Well, I'd sure like to see you dance. I think we should get you doing a little bit of a jig.
You really wouldn't.
Well, you're the leader of the alt sort of country pack here in Australia, and worldwide. You're you can get away with probably not dancing on stage. That's a good thing. You're currently the CMAA Golden Guitar Male Artist of the Year. I want to know, how do you feel about the country music industry opening up to new styles of country? So now there's the 3 sections, obviously, for album, contemporary album of the year, traditional country album of the year, and alt country album of the year. How do you see that for country music? Is that something?
Look, I think it can only ever be a positive thing. The thing to remember is all of those different styles of music, plus many, many more, have always been there. It's just now that we're starting to acknowledge some of the more genre-specific parts of country in a more mainstream sense, or as part of the awards, or as part of our, country music media and that kind of thing. So all those styles of music have always been there. Country's actually got, the way I understand it, more subgenres than any other style of music.
It's like 70-something, isn't it?
It's crazy. And they've always been there. And some of them, some of them bubble along doing their thing as like an underground cult kind of, with a cult following. But, certainly the Americana alt country scene has seen a huge surge, I guess, in the last kind of decade or two. But certainly with some of the artists in the States doing it, kind of becoming more accepted mainstream, and obviously here we've got now the traditional category, which kind of all that music's always been there, obviously too. But now that there's a way to differentiate that from what other people are doing. I think it's only a good thing
in terms of bringing more people into the country music family, you know, and it's only going to get better by bringing more people in. The small town attitude of keeping it tight knit is only going to make it implode eventually, I think.
Yeah,
so it's about
agree.
bringing more people in and diversifying, and that brings more punters in then too, and generally more money.
Yeah,
you know,
for
increases
sure.
the music economy.
Do you find it hard, you know, to work, I guess, from home essentially? You've got your studio in your house. Do you find it hard to switch off?
Yeah, well, I live above it, and it's very easy to kind of work and forget that you're at home. You know, I can easily fall into that pattern of just working, and I try not to now. It's taken a lot of getting used to, you know. But I don't think I'd swap it. I love living above the studio. The amount of times that I can just get out of bed now and I just go down to work in pyjamas and drink coffee all day and actually work making records in underpants, like that to me is...
So when I asked about the fly on the wall experience, that's what I'd be looking at.
Most of the
you
time,
in your undies.
I don't do it for the first couple of days with a new client. Once we get to know each other, then the pants come off. And I just find it so much more comfortable. And to me, that's the definition of success. If I can go to work every day in underpants and still earn money...
Yeah, earn a living in your pyjamas, on your couch, listening to music.
That's
you've got
winning
it
at
made.
life, I reckon.
Thank you so much for sitting down, having a chat
That's
with
fun,
me.
thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Shane Nicholson, I'm Melanie Dyer. You're watching Live on the Lot.